So, to start with, I just wanna say this, if I lived in a township where they had yard clippings in the ordinance, I put my house up for sale as well. Yard clippings, so I guess if you pull it up out of the ground like a weed, you can't put it in the bag, cause it's not a yard clipping. And if you cut it down with a chainsaw, you didn't clip it with pruners, you can't put it in the bag. And I don't know if it goes along and clips grass with the hand clippers anymore, so I think that's a little outdated. I think yard waste is
So
an appropriate substitution.
every yard clippings is changed to yard waste.
No, it wasn't. There's still 8 or 10 yard clippings in there.
Then you have old copy.
You gave it to me.
I emailed it to everybody. So,
Yard
starting
waste.
with
At the bottom.
page, Article 1, Division 1 of this ordinance that I sent everybody.
I have 2 of them.
Because there's waste, right there, and there's waste, yard waste, yard waste, yard waste, is right there. And you have it on yours too.
So, the only thing that I found on this first page is under section 1316D, it said the township shall arrange for household hazardous waste, but I think as I changed on here, I think it should be may. Then if we want to, we can, if we don't, we're not bound by ordinance. So is that a good change?
Because you still have the hazardous waste availability in the, wasn't it, how many times a year is it? Out of
Well,
OCC?
it's only one is OCC, but it's 4 times. in
4 times,
Oakland
yeah.
County.
On the notepad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before it said the township shall arrange for it. And now if we change it to may, we can do it, or if we don't want to subsidize it, yeah, we don't have to. So then, looking down, you can see all the clippings were changed, and that's,
Curbside still says yard clippings. Circle
So
it.
he's calling everyone that's.
so, then we go to recyclable
Curbside.
materials, and that has a different definition than in the rest of the ordinance, so I'll just tell Gary Dobry to make them both the same.
Both the same on that one then?
He'll have to determine which one it should be and use that same definition in the general ordinance definitions as well as the solid waste definitions. So are we good with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, then going to the next page. A lot of this is just housekeeping, taking out West Bloomfield's ordinance number, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Fourth paragraph down, yard waste. Next to last line, right above note, yard clippings again. Note in red lettering.
Oh, solid waste.
So it says here, under 13-19, it shall be unlawful for any person to place or cause to be placed for disposal, placed waste for disposal on the premises of another. 13-19. Let's focus on the important stuff.
1319.
Yeah. Do we want that to be in there? Unlawful for somebody to put garbage on the premises of another. Seems a little extreme, but.
Who's going to enforce it?
Yeah, that's right, just like, who's gonna force that?
Yeah, you might run into a
Does
problem with people
Bloomfield
saying somebody's doing this and you're not doing
Or
anything
not?
about it.
Oh, they have it, Bloomfield has it.
Bloomfield or West Bloomfield?
I'm sorry, West
West
Bloomfield
Bloomfield, okay.
has it.
Yeah, this is West Bloomfield's ordinance.
Right.
We're working with.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I don't think it hurts to leave it in there.
I'm kind of with Margaret.
Okay. Formatted list. That's just a formatted thing. Formatted. So that's it on this page, unless anybody else had something else on this page? then,
1328B,
BE, yep,
yeah,
what about it?
where it says there, it specifies where to get rid of yard waste and how to get rid of yard waste, where you can and can't dump it. And I think that's essential.
Yes.
Okay. So we're not changing B at all?
No, I just said
Okay.
it's,
Okay.
you know,
In C, it says that the temporary suspension can't be for more than 3 months.
right.
Are we good with that?
Well, again, we gotta get back down to, like I said, are we gonna invoice or is the refuse hauler gonna invoice? How
I
much?
thought it was already
Right.
decided that the hauler was going to do it.
Right, okay, so the hauler's gonna invoice, the hauler may wanna do it differently. Maybe if somebody's gone 6 months out of the year, they're gone 6 months out of the
We have
year.
a lot of snowbirds in there.
What's
They're
that?
going on
Yeah.
4 to 6 months a year.
So why don't we change it to 6? It doesn't mean it has to be
Okay.
6.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Make
gonna
that
change
6
that to 6. It can be less if they're gone
And if they're
less.
gone more than 6 months, they're technically not a township resident, so.
That's just it. So do we need to put 6
If
months?
they're
What
gone
about-
more than 6 months,
They're not a resident.
they're not a resident.
Right,
They
so
don't get the
should we put
principal
5?
exemption.
What if they're gone 5.5?
Right.
We put,
6 months
this has
covered.
got nothing to
6
do with
months,
whether
right.
they're a resident or a
I just
primary
said if they're
resident or
gone more than
anything.
6
This is
months.
just trash hauling.
Right.
Right.
If they're gone more than 6 months, they have issues outside of what this ordinance addresses, but there are
I just
people
made a
who are gone.
statement, I wasn't etching anything, no,
Well-
asking the Almighty to break the 10 commandments or anything, I just.
I'm just wondering if the trash haulers can quote a price to do a township.
They're doing it in West Bloomfield.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing, well, the
They're
West
doing it on
Bloomfield ordinance reads
cameras.
3 months.
Right.
Commerce, I don't know.
So if they can do it
So-
in 3 months, they should be able to do it.
So
for
that's
6
what I'm wondering, if they can do it for 6 months.
The
to base
general
the
perception is that somebody can afford to be gone 4 months of the year, it isn't gonna kill them to pay for 4 months worth of garbage here and getting picked up. That's the general perception, but
Right.
realistically, money wasted is money lost, so if they don't have to pay for those 3, 4, 5
I
months.
get that, I'm just wondering if they can do it or whatever.
So I'm just telling you different things you hear back from different people sharing stuff that I've heard, so. But I think we could go 6 months, or maybe just do 5 months, because 6 months is a half a year, maybe make that number 5 months. And then up and above that, then they can bicker with that with the refuse hauler.
Okay, so both those spots in C will be changed to 5 months. Okay. Then, housekeeping, the only thing I wondered about in 1329, curbside collection regulations. Do people have to bring their cans back in no later than 7 PM on the day it's picked up?
I think that's what we have it now, isn't it?
Yeah, but what happens if our board meeting runs past 7 PM and it's our garbage day, and we don't get home till 8 to carry our garbage in? My wife comes to meetings and I come to meetings, and none of my neighbors are gonna carry my garbage cans up for me. Do I wanna be in violation of township
What
ordinance?
time can you take them out?
No, not before 6 PM the previous day. It says you have to be in by 7 PM,
So you got 24 hours to do
25 hours.
actually 25 hours.
it.
Yeah.
Do you want it 9 o'clock?
But say, well, the supervisor couldn't be here for the meeting to start, because he had to go home and get his garbage cans in, so it was in violation of township ordinance, but he will be here
Can you read the
eventually.
general ordinance?
Yeah, I think 9 PM would be,
Nine would be good,
I
yeah.
think it'd be a better
Of
number.
now?
Yeah, I need to see, I think in our ordinance, general ordinance 1315C, I believe, no, 1315C.
And 9 PM.
In our ordinance, it may say 8 o'clock there. Should have brought up earlier.
Modern technology. Well, at least you can do it though.
Yeah,
You have to run down and dig through a file cabinet like I would.
that's right.
So I deleted, I'm going to the next page while we wait for that to come up, I deleted that whole section you can see about bid specifications. Is everybody okay with leaving it out?
Which one number is that?
So the next
Like
page,
Division 4,
1335.
13,
34.
just that whole deleted section.
To the bottom.
Let's go over the-
Which one are you?
1334.
13-34,
Are you good with taking all of that out?
34 here.
Right there. Go on.
You wanna take that out?
Well, after looking at it, I wondered, so what the code of ordinance? I'm thinking maybe it should go back in, is what I'm thinking.
Code of ordinance or page guide?
Code of ordinances, because I'm looking for.
1315C.
And we'll put out a spec sheet for the bids and make sure that they, you know, cross all their Ts, dot all their Is in the bid specs when they turn them back in, correct?
So that's, you know, do we want the bid specs in the ordinance? I guess that's, would be my question. Do we want the bid specs in the ordinance, or shall that be something separate?
It should probably be in the ordinance.
It's gotta be where somebody can say, well, I didn't have, they didn't
Right.
give that to me, they gave me this, so it's all in one. They can't
Well,
say.
none of our other bid specs are in ordinances.
I know, that's what I was
We
thinking.
spell them out.
So can we put them somewhere in the website? Is there a?
Well,
Well, no,
it-
just as long as we had the bids on file, it shows the spec sheet.
Yeah,
and
the
all the
specs
data.
are
Okay.
available to
Yeah, I'll
anybody who
cap
wants
on
them,
the
but they're
workshop
not
this
part of
Okay.
the ordinance.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Because to change the bid specs, we'd have to change the ordinance, was what I
No,
was
that's
thinking.
good, just so you said,
Yes.
we'll keep records of the ones we had, and that's good.
We can refer to these specs as we draw them.
Oh, that's true, you can do reference to. Yeah. We do. We're at 11.
Because I got the one that you took them all out, right there, the other ones, so.
Put it on the red, want to take it out? Next page.
Here I go again, so 1329.
Don't
C,
tell me about yard
right-hand side.
clippings.
So if I put my house up for sale and move, I gotta resign as township supervisor.
I can hardly wait. Okay, 13. C.
Right at the end.
I'm not marking any friggin' yard clippings, I'm sorry.
I'll give you my copy because they are all marked in there, like they were before and you missed them.
Okay, I don't know what that note means, but I have a suspicion that in some part of our ordinance, it
What is it,
says
1339?
8 o'clock, that we have to have the cans in. And this is in contradiction to that, so,
So you wanna turn that 9 to an 8 then?
well, let me confirm that
Okay.
and just match existing ordinance.
And then you'll send us one more revision of this to review.
No, if it already says 8, we'll do 8.
Right.
Otherwise, we'll never get this thing off the table.
Sure.
So we're gonna leave the bid specs out of the ordinance, so that
Correct.
we can
Yep.
change them without, okay.
And then the bid specs, is like 1335, which is on the West Bloomfield I'm looking at.
Yes, 1335 is
Right.
what was deleted.
Okay, so are we using anything from that, or
We
we're just
we
putting
could,
it?
we could, but it'll only be in the bid specifications,
Okay.
it won't be in the
Or it
ordinance.
won't be part of the ordinance.
Okay, because I
That
like
way
some
we
of
can
the
change
things
them
they
as
have.
needs
Okay.
rise.
I would think most of them should be in the bid information that goes out to the people who
Yeah,
are bidding.
this and maybe more.
Right.
We'll put
Right.
in there.
Right.
Right.
But just not, we're not gonna put it in the ordinance.
That's
so-
perfect.
So we can change it. Ordinance changes require an introduction and an adoption and,
All good.
publication in the papers and everything. So moving on to the next page that starts with 1341. And that whole section is red. Is that, everybody has that whole section in red. That whole thing needs to come out, I think, because we're not
Yeah.
billing.
Right.
We're not billing. West Bloomfield does the
Right.
billing, so this had to get tweaked. Yeah, so that whole red section.
Because I had major questions about that.
Yeah, since we're not billing, yeah. So then we go to the next page, section 1178.
Everything
Wait,
red is up?
Yes.
So this is West Bloomfield's ordinance, right?
No,
This
that's
one,
not
That's
the
an
red.
older copy
Yeah.
thing.
Well, this is the
I
one we're
gave this
using
to
right here.
everybody
Right.
to work from this.
That one you got
Right,
there.
I guess I was comparing it with this one, because I thought this was West Bloomfield's that you had given us.
I don't know who's that.
So the billing and enforcement part is off too, then, correct?
Because we're not billing,
Because they gave it
yeah, this isn't West Bloomfield.
Okay.
Proportionate bills and billing and enforcement, both those sections are out?
Yeah.
Well, you know, under billing and enforcement, looking at section B and D,
I have that started.
do we need to leave that in there? About delinquencies and,
Well, we'll put a delinquent on the tax bill, just like they do the water.
Okay, what billings do we do that come outside the township go on our tax bills? Explain that one to me, because maybe I'm a little stupid on that one. What private sector bills go on our tax bills currently? None. So why would we start putting these, that's a private sector building, we decided.
Because that's what all 6 communities did. But
so if the homeowner doesn't pay,
It's if they don't, yeah.
they stop picking up then.
Right.
They stop picking up, how are we any better off than we are right now? We have houses with garages filling up because nobody's picking up the trash.
Well, they start getting tickets and stuff from, they have light all over the place. Like you said, we don't collect from private entities doing work, so I agree
We
with
hire
that.
for an
these
enterprise
people. We
fund.
hired these people.
We're instituting the law.
We're gonna hire these people to do this work.
So we can do that then. We can take
That's what all
private
the
sector
other-
billing
That's
and
what
put it
all
on
the-
public tax bills.
If we have an ordinance, it says.
I would suggest you ask Dover. I don't care what
Well,
other
this-
municipalities did,
the
I'm
whole-
just
well,
saying.
This whole
Just
thing was
one.
written by Dover, and we are gonna give it to him, but
every single one of these,
You
put
could
it
ask
on
them
their
about their
delinquent
question,
tax,
right?
put it as a delinquent bill on the delinquency with an
Yes.
admin fee, just like the enterprise does. Because they put the water with the 10% on delinquent water.
Right,
What's
they
that?
do.
And it's
Our
an
water
enterprise.
bill.
Our water bill.
If we
It's
don't
an
pay it.
enterprise fund, but it's part of the charter township of Waterford. They're not a private sector company, is what I'm saying.
okay, so I'll ask Dover.
I'm just saying, it's private sector company. Department of Public Works is part of the charter township of Waterford. It's a public utility.
And I get that, but we're mandating this.
I understand
We're
we're
hiring these
mandating, I
people.
just
We are
want to make
hiring
sure.
them, so in the essence of a legal perspective, if we're hiring them, are they now becoming a public service?
Okay, you mandate
We're
how,
giving them the
okay, but
contract.
here's another thing, you mandate per state code through the township of Waterford how people build a house. Somebody doesn't pay them for the house, can they take that lien and put it on the tax bill?
Yes.
No, they can't.
They
can't.
Private sector cannot put a
No,
lien.
but we
can't do
didn't
that.
hire that contractor and tell him to
No.
build that house.
Exactly.
We are hiring the garbage
Yeah.
house.
Oh,
So we'll see what
Let's just-
Dover says, we'll revisit.
But my guess is they didn't pay the garbage company, aren't gonna pay Waterford Township either, so, but again, just an opinion, not fact based, it's just an opinion. So, and again, that's one more thing the treasurer's office has to do. And the last time I checked, they were understaffed, so I don't wanna do a bunch of stuff that's create a bunch more work for the township. That's why we're not gonna bill it ourselves, because we got enough work to do with the staffing level we currently have, so I don't wanna create something that's gonna create a bunch more work for the township, so.
Okay, so we'll see what Dover says.
But
and
just make
try to
sure that we can
explore.
legally do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Okay, so then, aside from that, that page is done. Then we go to the next page, which starts with section B. And it says that the township identification license,
Which one is it?
Page you went to,
well, the next page, there's no page numbers on this.
Which
So
section?
what section?
right at the top, B, right at the top is B.
Consolidation?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Where?
All right, so it was 1348 on the page before.
Okay, so I'm
1348,
where you at?
then you go to the top of the next page.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm questioning something you see, and if I'm skipping over any questions you guys have, speak up, I'm just taking us down this path. identification license, and I thought what we could do is create something like a bumper sticker
Mhm.
that would have an issued license number on it or something like that, not a plate, like a license plate, a bumper sticker. Then we don't have to, you know, it would be cheaper to make them, we don't have to give them nuts and screws. Just give them
Right,
bumper stickers.
right.
So if nothing else, moving down to 1349 on that same page, it says business premises there, and we need to strike that because we're doing residential.
On that C, again, that C, where's that gonna come from? They're gonna display this,
Well, the township identification license.
right,
So they pay for the license and we hand them the license.
so we get that printed out.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
and I'm proposing a bumper sticker, just because it would be cheaper and easier.
And it says the location for mounting must be in front of bumper on vehicle at any location from
And
the
then
center
you
point
have
to
like little
the
license
same.
plates on these trash haulers, saying license by.
Some of them have them right up on the door on the passenger
door.
side.
So we
Right,
could
yeah.
do little metal
Well, you
ones,
can do a
I'm
little
just
sticker
saying.
type too, yeah, you can do like a,
Like Rochester Hills, there's a sticker, I've seen theirs on.
Okay.
and then
Roadway
doors.
colors, yeah. City of
Yeah,
Rochester
everybody knows
Hills.
driver's door, passenger door, whatever.
No,
Well, it says here on the front bumper.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
gonna say it says the location.
Front
Let's-
bumper of the vehicle, from the center or right of center. So are we good with that? Section C?
as long as there isn't five of the municipalities that use this place, they got their permanent stickers in the same spot, that's the only thing,
Shall
so.
be permanently mounted utilizing either threaded bolts and nuts or screws, nothing about stickers.
Well, that's what I'm saying we're gonna change.
You gotta take it
So,
off.
so the location for mounting must be on the front bumper of the vehicle, period?
Yeah. Then if it's a metal plate, it's a metal plate, if it's a sticky, it's just,
And it does, and if somebody else has already said it, right of center or left of center, anywhere on the bumper is good for us, front bumper.
and so we'll need to know how many vehicles are gonna be running in our township, et cetera.
Well, they'll have to license every one of them.
Right, as I say, we have to know what the numbers are, so, yeah.
Is there a fine or a cost if they drive one that doesn't have, say one of the trucks, licensed
Did you
trucks?
read this?
Right. No, not the whole, I know where, no, I did not read word for word. Show me where it's at, tell me, and I'll read it.
There's something here that says that if they have problems with the vehicle, they can swap one out temporarily. But let's just go down and if you wanna add something about that, just make a note of it. You wanna add
Well, I was just
something.
talking about the license plate, my question was, say a truck that's got the permit to go on the township breaks down, and they bring another one without one.
Yeah,
and it's-
there's something in here about that.
What section is that? Temporary.
B, exceptions to the requirements in subsection A will be allowed only in the case of an emergency situation. That constitutes.
Oh, and it does say 8 o'clock down at the bottom.
Oh, okay, then it's part of this ordinance that
Yeah.
I was trying to find.
Yep.
Yeah, so we need to decide if we want 7 or 8.
I said 8.
It's fine.
I wrote down earlier, said 7.
Okay, but it doesn't really specify what the exceptions are. Hey, trucks on the
Such
door
as
town.
weather conditions, vehicle breakdown, and the like.
Yeah, but it
So
doesn't
it's-
specify how long of a breakdown period you can have this on licensed vehicle if your municipality.
Do we want this, do we wanna?
They want a blown engine transmission, it'd be down in 30 days.
Yeah.
We just need to come in and get another bumper sticker.
Yeah, that's
That's all I
yeah,
need to do.
I would think, you know.
Yeah.
Such exceptions shall be granted by the police department.
And again, like I said, when you create gray area, people abuse it, they just do it, they'll take
Yeah.
it for all it's worth, you know what I'm saying? It does,
So it's, what do you wanna do?
or there's
with this?
potential there for people to abuse it. I don't like that part of it, I don't. If it breaks down, it breaks down, but like I said, the next week, you need a licensed vehicle.
Right.
If that one's broken down, you need a sticker on the next vehicle that comes in, you just have to have
Yeah,
it.
1 week.
That's, to me, temporary is like,
A
today it broke
temporary.
down.
Right.
Right.
Okay, tomorrow, you know, it's, you gotta be back up and running again. I'm
Yeah.
assuming they'll back up. Anybody that's gonna bid on this is gonna have backup vehicles.
So shall we strike that section B then, exceptions?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I don't think it needs to be in there.
So we cross out B.
Yep. Okay. So, section D, handicap customers. Do we wanna keep that?
Yeah, I think we should keep it.
Yeah, it says here that they have to file.
And odds are it's not giving you an inordinate amount of garbage, so maybe the guy can hop off the truck, walk up, grab it, throw it in the truck and be done, so.
And it has to be in file with the clerk's office, so.
Because they got that basically with the smart bus too, there's certain houses that are designated where they come right to the door, you know, door to door pickup, so.
Yeah.
So this ordinance that West Bloomfield has says it's Monday through Thursday, Friday when the holiday occurs in that week. Do we want that?
Yes.
Anyone garbage pickup on Friday then?
Just when the holidays during the week.
I think Monday through Thursday should be good enough for the township.
And we're gonna cut them back to stopping at 5 o'clock. They already pick up later than that as it is, and we're taking a whole day away.
Monday through Thursday, but when it's a holiday, with that Monday through Thursday, I think we should give them
We have
Friday.
to have this approved before we send it out for bids to get
Right.
input from the,
Before we get people to bid on tape.
so we
doing
can't have
work.
their input.
So any holiday falls like Monday through Thursday, it's still gonna come on Friday anyway.
Well, 4th of July was on Wednesday, so
Right,
they
so
picked up on
Thursday, so-
Friday this week, they didn't pick up Thursday's garbage, or Wednesday's garbage Thursday,
But
Thursday's garbage Friday.
July falls on Monday,
But I'm just saying, it fell on Wednesday.
So
this
Mondays
year.
gets
So they
picked
picked
up
up Wednesday,
Tuesday,
Thursday,
Tuesdays
Thursday,
gets
Friday.
picked up
Thursday.
Wednesday, Wednesday gets picked up.
Okay, with the
Thursday,
exception of
Thursday,
Friday, okay.
Okay, you know, the only thing is, I'm just wondering if we put that 4-day restriction on, we're gonna limit the amount of people we have available to bid, because they have to be that much bigger, where they can pick up the entire township of 73,000 plus people in 4 days, you know what I'm
So
saying?
let's
That's
change it
just-
to Friday then.
From 7 to 5
Monday, Friday.
p.m. That's-
Monday through Friday, no weekends. I don't have a
I'm just
problem.
saying.
Discuss some more day.
I just wondered if we're gonna restrict ourselves to doing it
That's
for 4
what, that was
days.
my thought too.
If
is
we
that it
put-
It
gets
isn't like
up
going 5 8s to 4 10s, you know what I'm saying? You're still working,
Yeah.
you know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's,
And I think it's a little unreasonable asking them to stop at 5 o'clock.
I do too.
If we
You
put
could have all
Monday
kinds
was
of
a
weather, you could have any number of things.
well,
You
especially
get a
winter
truck
time,
breakdown.
yeah.
Yeah.
Winter times, the way the subdivisions all say, don't get plowed, I know that sounds negative, but
Right.
you're gonna move slower through this up, you know, it's just.
Should change it 7 to 7?
if we put in on Friday and there's a holiday, will that push it to Saturday then?
Well, that's not how they do it now.
No,
I
Okay,
mean, they just sort of
I can't
work
remember that.
faster and
Yeah.
harder the next week.
Okay.
they
they probably
catch
just work
up.
longer days.
okay.
Yeah.
And they said there are exceptions, in a weekend holiday, they may run till 7 o'clock at night, you know, you said pick up.
Well, in the fall time, the yardways and stuff, they're always right before
Is there a way we
winter,
could,
so, you know what I'm saying, they run late anyways. They did, last year was a perfect example
In
of that.
between the township hours of 7 and 5. I don't want that in there.
I'm just wondering if there's a way we could make this a little more lenient but when we bid, ask them to put their best, what's your best plan?
Well, so if it's not in the ordinance,
No, I
but
mean-
it is in the bid specs, then we can change it without going to publication and introducing and adopting.
Yeah.
So theoretically, we could take it out of the ordinance and put it in the specs.
So we're gonna take out E.
Well,
We're thinking about
talking
it.
about it.
Yeah.
And we can see which company wants the business. You know.
And that would give us time to
Basically.
get a little input from.
And then they'd be committed to it in a contract.
Yeah, the bid
So-
Yeah,
specs would.
but if there's $60 a customer higher than the next closest bid because of that restriction, and you got 31,000 residential properties in the township, that's a ton of money, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
again,
no, understood.
yeah.
But if it's in the ordinance, they don't have a choice, they have to live by it.
That's what they have to bid by, right? And I said, and now at the bid letting, if you got bids that are close or something, you can ask people, you can go down and ask them specifics
Sure.
in their bids, you know what I'm saying, to make sure they haven't forgot anything and they understand, or sometimes when somebody get bids back, and there'll be a section they didn't, there'll be a line in, they don't have a thing in there, so make sure why they left the money out,
Mhm.
no explanation, stuff like that, so. What do you think, 7 to 6? I mean, add an extra hour?
I was thinking 6 to 7, actually, 6 AM to 7.
I think 6 a little too early, 7 to 7, give it 12 hours.
I think so.
Most of the people say now that they want the garbage out by 6, so they must
The
be
next
starting
day,
at 6
so it's
now.
already out
It's
the
already-
the
yeah.
day before.
No, but they want it there by 6, so they're picking something up at 6 AM, as it is
Yeah,
now.
you see,
I don't see it, they're not at my house at 6 AM.
a lot of times I come in at 6:30 to 6:45 on Pleasantville Road in the morning, I'll see garbage trucks already in the summertime.
Right.
Usually, they start early because it's hot, and I gotta imagine that on the back of a garbage truck is not a pleasant
No.
job.
So you want to change that to 6 to 6?
It's good for weight loss, but not for smell.
6 to 7?
Well, I don't know, I was thinking 6 to 7, that doesn't mean they're gonna always be
No,
out there
but like you
6 to
said,
7.
on the
but they've
stretch
got the
days,
That's the
leeway.
window.
Yeah,
On the
but-
stretch days, when they
yeah,
gotta put
we're
4
trying to
days,
make up-
they put 5 days into 4.
It's a little more lenient.
Yeah.
6 to 7.
Yeah, okay? Monday through Friday.
Okay,
Okay. And then the same holidays, they're not gonna pick up those days anyway, so. So F, do we really need them to give us a customer count? We're not involved at all in the billing of it.
no.
So can we just eliminate F, customer
Yes,
list?
yes, yep.
So on the very next thing, all persons engaged in the business of collecting garbage shall offer in good faith to all persons. The only person that's gonna be picking up in the township is gonna be the person we
Mhm.
hire. And if they're not doing a good job, we'll fire them. So it just seems like we should get rid of that in section A.
Which one is it?
That highlighted one, 13-53.
Yep.
A.
I don't know, is that just kind of a goodwill that they put that in there? I mean, it's titled obligation to offer.
So section C says they can't put recyclables in the landfill.
Oh, that's interesting.
This A just seems a little superfluous. So maybe collection of recyclables.
Yeah, A doesn't seem necessary, and C seems like it would go
So
with
yeah,
bidding
B is
specs.
completely out of the ordinance, so, okay. Sue, just make it one time there, but you know where it says, All persons engaged, anywhere in there where it says, all persons engaged in the collection of garbage, rubbish, and/or solid waste and yard waste from residential property. We need to make sure we get yard waste in on those, because that's,
Yard clippings.
She's pulling her chin.
as long as you keep laughing, you're.
Okay, that's a good idea, I added yard waste there. Maybe just that first sentence, shall offer the service of collection of recyclables. We already defined residential customer, I think, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Residential premises, so we don't need that. So, I just don't like that it starts with all persons, we are hiring a company.
How about the refuse contractor engaged?
Or just say the company engaged.
Good. Contractor engaged in the business of collecting garbage, rubbish, yard waste, and solid waste from the property shall offer in good faith to each and every customer the service of collection of recyclables. And then the next one says they can't put it in a landfill.
And then we put contractor engaged in the business of,
Yeah, same there.
Yep.
Good catch. Okay. And just kind of, as we go along these pages, look at what I deleted and see if you're okay with the deletions. So then on the next page, the second part of 13-67, I didn't catch that, but the West Bloomfield ordinance number is there, we'll have to change it to ours. Do we want the licenses to expire every December 31st? Section 1370.
Keep them on the calendar year? Yeah, that's good.
That's
We're
how
on the
it-
calendar year, keep that on the calendar.
Yeah.
Start creating different dates, this is a good thing to remember.
Well, there it says plate or sticker.
Yeah. So under fees, 13-73, we never put the fee amount in the ordinance so that we can change it without changing our ordinance. But the police chief said West Bloomfield's only charging $20
That's a registration fee?
to license the vehicle.
Right.
And the police chief said it should be $100.
Minimum of $100.
And it says here, such fee shall be refunded should the license or renewal be refused.
That's fair.
Okay. Okay.
So, also, we're not gonna put the amount in there.
No. So then under 1374 renewal down there, unless there's something else, A3, it says that it should be inspected. The licensee shall have each vehicle inspected by code enforcement.
No,
The
Police department.
Yeah, the police department inspects the peddlers' vehicles, like ice cream trucks. They should be looking at these things too. And then here's where West Bloomfield has put their fee right in the ordinance, so we'll strike that section.
3 should say police several times in there.
Yeah.
Fee should be $100, you say?
Yeah, but it's not gonna be in the ordinance. And then it says if they don't get their license by January 15th, in section B, that they have to, it's no longer a renewal, they have to supply all of the paperwork that will be associated.
We're starting over again, okay, good.
So the last thing that's deleted on this page in that right column is a hazardous waste fee, and I'm just gonna throw this out here, it's what West Bloomfield does. The recycling company pays West Bloomfield $1 for every household. To fund hazardous waste pickup, that's what this is.
Where is
The
it?
hazardous waste company pays West Bloomfield?
Down here, this deleted thing, down here.
Hazardous waste fees.
The refuse hauler pays the township $1 for every customer that then West Bloomfield applies to the cost of North Oakland hazardous waste.
So they use that money to pay for
Yeah.
the 4
So that's $1 a customer, we have like 29,000 customers. So that, and we subsidize that hazardous waste pickup. I'm just pointing this out, I took it out, but do we wanna leave it out, or do we wanna ask them to kick it back to us, $1 per household per year to help fund the hazardous waste? I don't know exactly what we spend.
But are they picking up hazardous?
No, they're
No,
not.
they're not.
No.
They're just-
They're
They
just
have North
contributing
Oakland
to
hazardous
recycling.
waste pickup that we do, those 4 days, one of them at OCC. Everybody pays $15 to participate in it, but it costs more like $40 a person to process that hazardous waste. In West Bloomfield, the trash hauler gives $1 for every customer to the township, and that money is applied towards the cost of North Oakland hazardous waste pickup.
That we pay for now out of the general fund.
Yeah,
Right.
so I'm just throwing it out there.
You would have to believe that they put that in their charge too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
$1.
it is.
So I mean,
Yeah, $1.
in essence,
Mhm.
each household is paying $1 towards hazardous waste, which I don't think is unfair. Everybody has hazardous waste. If they're disposing of it properly, they're helping to pay for it, I think.
So should we leave it in?
But you're putting the burden on the hauler to pay for
To
it.
pay for it, right.
All they're doing is writing a check once a year,
Yeah,
$1 a
that's all.
household.
And $1 is, you know, it's not, people aren't gonna know. I didn't-
$1.
Well, it's not gonna cost the customer nothing, it could cost the customer.
Well, it probably will cost, I mean,
They're
you
gonna
would
pass it
think,
along, but.
Yeah, they aren't gonna donate.
They're not donating it,
$20,000
yeah,
to
they're-
Right,
charge.
they're gonna pass it along, so.
right,
They'll charge the customer 10 cents more a month.
yeah,
Is that it?
yeah, it's a
Probably
meaningless
more.
number.
Well,
But it comes back to us with,
You're
as
a-
as a meaningful amount.
$1 a year, it's a wash, so it's just,
Yeah,
again. So you wanna leave it in then?
I think we should leave it in.
Okay.
right, we can use it, Jim,
Margaret,
right?
what do you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll replace it. There were years where we didn't participate because we didn't have the money
Sure.
to subsidize it. So this would prevent that from ever happening again, and this keeps a lot of bad stuff
From getting in the
landfill.
water.
Every single item that you get put into that is a major plus, so.
That's not going into.
Whether it's a
landfill.
battery or something else.
So especially in townships like Waterproof,
Yep.
with all the
With
lakes
all
we
the
have,
water.
the wetlands we
Yeah.
have and stuff, people chuck it out the window or go down the back road somewhere and find a place to
Storm
chuck it
drains.
out. Yep.
Yep.
We're still gonna do it anyways, I don't think.
Well, you're gonna
You're
have a
always
few
gonna have a
people that do it,
percentage.
you know, and you don't want the percentage, just like she said, the percentage to pick up when more people do it, so.
So what kind of bond do we want from these trucks?
That's $1 amount, correct?
Mhm. And do we want cash or do we want a surety bond?
Which was one for one.
Surety. difference between a cash bond and a surety bond is the availability of it to use for whatever purpose the bond is placed for. You know what I mean? We hold $5,000 cash bond for all the sewer contractors in order for them to pay costs and damage. We can spend that cash. I don't know how you would get money from a surety bond, so I might be overreacting.
Put a note in there for Dover to advise on that.
Okay. And do you have any idea what other communities are charging for bonds?
No.
I'll ask around what the other communities are doing. Okay, you can do it then, thanks.
Wade Lake, Commerce, and West Bloomfield all contract also call the three of them to
Yeah,
get their bonds.
yeah, they're on my list.
Okay. Under penalties for violations,
Yes?
is that something we can invoke, or does it have to go to the 51st District Court? I would think it's in our ordinance, we could invoke it ourselves.
Yeah, it would be a
It's like
code.
code enforcement, civil, municipal, civil.
But all of our code enforcement goes through the 51st District Court. All of our development services go through the 51st District Court. So I'm just saying, is this gonna go through the court too?
So it's referencing in West Bloomfield's code subsection 1-10B of this code. I'll look and see what that is,
Okay.
and we'll ask Dovery also.
And the contracts with us, I would think that we could invoke fine ourselves.
That's what a municipal
Collect
civil
the monies.
infraction.
That's writing a ticket, and then it does go to the court.
Yeah,
Right.
typically, once we write the ticket, we're done.
Right.
Other than going to court to testify, it's in the hands of the court decides on it. So-
What to do, okay.
And they don't wanna have, like, give them a $500 fine and have it reduced down to $100 or $50.
See,
So it just, again,
I got you.
so just, if it's a $500 fine, it's a $500 fine. Because if they reduce it down too much, they're gonna continue violating it, there's no cost to them. So-
Right.
And then we have to tie a person up to go to court and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So again, we're creating more, you know, financial liability for us and hours spent away from the job enforcing stuff that, where we just send them an invoice and they pay it and that's it.
So this says violations of this Article 3. So Article 3 is the business of collection, all of the stuff we've been talking about. What days they pick up, what holidays, handicapped customers, all of that. So it would be the trash hauler that we're dealing with only
Okay,
with this violation.
okay.
Okay. This section on recycling and composting, Larry Lockwood has serious concerns about putting in
What
anything.
number is this?
Well, the very next thing.
1394.
Division 1, or Article 4, recycling and composting, right below what we were just talking about. The top of the page says 1377 bond. 1377, oh, so now go down. Article 4, recycling and composting. Got it?
Yeah, one.
The bottom of the second paragraph. Article 4, recycling, do you see it, Tony? Okay, so Larry Lockwood has concerns about putting composting in our ordinance. Right now, we don't address it at all, we don't have any problems with it, and he's fearful of what kind of
I see where he's coming from.
monster
Yes.
we're gonna create by spelling out what you can and can't do. People are gonna start pushing those.
Do you get any calls to your office of composting complaints?
None.
Do you? Neither do I.
So-
It's not an issue.
So let's take it out. Good. That will make Larry happy.
Composting, though.
Recycling and composting.
We're taking recycling and composting, or just the composting part of it?
Well,
Recycling is spelled out earlier,
so,
Yes, we've
yeah.
already really
with the
addressed
refuse
that.
hauler.
So, I'll read through this and see if there's anything that we haven't addressed about recycling in this section. And if it's only recycling, we could leave it in, but composting I'll take out. Oh, you know, there are a few things, like the yard waste collection. Okay, so we agree we're gonna take composting out. Anything that relates to recycling, we'll leave in that section.
Mhm.
Is that good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We don't have to go through this line by line. Okay.
B does, in B of that section, it does reference composting. Oh, you're taking it all out?
Everything that's
Oh,
relating,
okay. I thought you were keeping the or the recycling stuff.
I'm gonna
in.
keep the recycling parts in, of this section and take out anything
Anything
relative
composting
to
comes out.
composting.
Okay.
Anaerobic, aerobic, I'm gonna take all that out. Compost bin, compost pile,
Okay.
all of that kind of thing will come out. But we want yard waste collection, what months do we want them to pick up? Lawn pickings.
Oh.
April 1 to December 1.
Right.
December 1?
April 1 to November 30, December 1, yeah.
Over March.
Because there was that issue last year.
Typically, it's it would be the last Friday in November, would be the cutoff date.
So we use 12 one as,
Yeah,
and we're covered?
yep.
You're the gardener guy, you're the one who would know that best.
I thought you were the yard clippings person, you just said yard waste. Gotcha.
So failure to separate or properly repair recyclables or yard waste, we won't say composting.
Where's that at?
1395.
Yeah, 'cause you start doing separation and stuff, you got paper mixed in with your garbage. And then say your regular garbage and stuff, that's technically is a recyclable, so you don't really get involved in separation part of it.
Yep, and then here, the composting on residential addresses, Larry said knock it out, so that's like 2 pages. My gosh, we're almost at the end. Then these, the last part in here are the bid specs. We can worry about that later, because that's separate from the ordinance.
Okay, yes,
Yep.
that comes after all this. gets
So
done.
let's be sure we can get the ordinance in the shape that we want, and then base the bid
Is there
specs on
anything-
that.
Is there anything in there regarding insurance?
Totally divine.
Wasn't that
Just
the
a
issue?
Bond,
Just the bond.
you know, let's see, no, there was something
They need to be bonded.
under
insured.
licensing,
Yeah, I would think in order to get the license, they have to show proof of insurance
something
first
under
for the trucks,
licensing
right?
about that.
Is there like a minimum about that too?
That 13108, you've taken that out, I don't know. Is that in our township ordinance already? 'Cause it's
Oh,
not.
you know, I said replace,
You're putting it back in?
putting it
Yeah,
back in,
okay.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that has to stay.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of that going on, and people dumping on township property, their yard waste, their leaves, like, they don't want to clean it up, so leave it
13-108.
on us, yeah.
Yeah, we got the lot down there in Huron Garden where you'll find Christmas trees piled up down there. Somehow or another, we ended up with that.
Yeah.
Furniture, Christmas trees, people dump their leaves and stuff down there.
But this addresses not only the
Yeah.
township's property, but anybody else's
Any
personal
of-
property.
yeah.
If it's not yours, you shouldn't put your leaves there, you shouldn't put your yard waste.
This is back in.
Very good.
I'm getting it, I'm
Tree
getting it.
clippings.
We took it out April 1st.
No, yard clippings. It's everything.
Understood.
If
Tree
that's off a
waste.
tree,
Tree waste.
Tree
if it's off
waste.
a tree, you can't use it.
This is
Doesn't qualify.
backtracking, this is West Bloomfield's ordinance, and they have the waste hauler invoice customers.
That's
If
how
they don't
composting
pay,
does it.
they give the names to the township.
And that's what
Yep.
Gary is saying, he's not sure we can do
Right.
because of private enterprise.
But this is their ordinance.
And Gary knows that.
Okay, so,
Is, But the township isn't,
That's just like.
by doing that, the township doesn't become responsible for that bill,
Well,
does
that's
it?
not hazardous.
No,
It's just
no,
doing
no,
it.
it just goes to
Tax
tax.
bill and,
Okay.
property
Turned over
comes-
to the,
I don't know,
Yep.
you're on the Hess Hathaway board,
Turn,
right?
Yeah.
See, we, from the Nature Center board, we have an issue with people dumping in the
Stop that.
dumpsters. And if, they still can do that if they're not required to sign up with a hauler, and that's part of the problem. Public parks are being used for waste.
Yep. And I gotta imagine there's some people with backyards along Hess Hathaway
Somehow,
that potentially do
two of
that.
these, I don't know, I got it.
Yeah.
And then it's a mess, we have to deal with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it ends up being
This
the
is,
people
I
who,
was just telling you, this
you
is,
know, the
what's
volunteers and
the
stuff that have
the
been
Gary
there.
Road.
or the cross-country team, or whoever's using it, that happens to be in the
Trash
middle
hauler
of
bills
what
the
they're trying to
customers,
use.
if the customer doesn't pay.
I mean, they do it off in the woods mostly, but they
Still,
do it.
it's not right.
Yeah, I mean,
The waste hauler deals with billing.
Right.
If they don't pay, they give it to the township, and
Goes
the
to the
township,
next one.
yeah, it goes a lien against, yes. So that's the way there's liens right now.
Margaret said earlier, every other time, every other municipality does that already, so.
Okay, so I'll make these changes in this, I'll send it all to you, but at this point, Gary, I'll send it to Dover as well.
Yep, ship it out.
Because we've got most of the details set, there'll be a little tweaking.
starting incurring the expense.
That's right. It's what we do.
Fine, that's it.
But by doing this today, we have done a lot of the work. Okay, it's time for you.
See, we're all set with that now, you got everything how you want to do it?
I believe I do.
Okay.
Yes.
You got the yard waste stuff straightened out?
I'm working on that. You know. Some things take longer than other things.
Nothing like a word search.
Gary's gonna come back and say, has to change the clip.
I'll find one.
Yeah. And he will.
I
He
will find one, I
We'll find
promise.
It'll be the word clippings that's
No, I'm saying
misspelled.
Dover will say, it's gotta be clippings, it can't be.
That would
Okay.
be funny. That's a legal violation. We have to leave it in there.
Recently, we had a request from SD Capital owners of Summit Place Mall to do a lot line adjustment on the Kia dealership property on Elizabeth Lake Road across from a township-owned car wash, okay? They wanted, they're a privately owned car wash in the township. They want to go 1.3 acres to the east. They want to extend that parcel another 1.3 acres, okay? I have my own ideas. I talked to our assessor. And her said that all parcels involved in this have current and delinquent taxes unpaid. I personally would not be in favor of doing a lot line adjustment with current and back taxes owed against the property. That's the assessor, okay?
And everybody has to follow that rule, right? They won't do it for anybody else.
Nobody.
But aside from that, that was the purpose.
Yeah, why does he
I
do
think
that?
that's saying, he just
I
wants.
don't know, he
to-
just wants,
He
I
wants
don't,
a favor.
it's another thing, I won't say what my beliefs are, it's just a.
It's just something else he's
Okay.
trying to do.
I think you're breaching the choir here.
It is my opinion, we have litigation going against SD Capital on the Summer Place Mall property and back taxes against it, that we do not accommodate these wishes, that's my opinion, okay? They want something from us, but at the same time, we're paying attorney fees to fight them to do what should have already been done, so, I'm against it,
So
so.
just respond saying that, you know, once your arrears is all paid in full, then maybe.
We shouldn't even consider it then, though, either. We want to start chopping that property up.
So,
I mean, I'm with Gary, I don't think we can.
Well, you know,
we
let's
give an
be
inch.
real. He's not gonna pay all his back taxes. He's not.
well, then he's not getting a lot line adjustment, then.
Exactly.
It's real simple.
I agree.
Everybody else has to follow that rule. You should have to follow the rule too.
We had the parking issue I sent out to you guys last week,
Right.
there's a parking
Same
issue.
issue.
And they came in the next morning at 8:35 and hand delivered the check to Waterford Township, payable to Oakland County Treasurer's Office for back taxes against the property. That's the only way that would be allowed. So-
Portion of back tax.
Yeah.
Well, it's get paid, it didn't say it paid off the back taxes, it gets paid against the back taxes on the property, so. Again,
So are those cars done now, are they back, or are they still
Oh, it's still there.
Are they?
No, it's,
They're gonna be there for a while.
it's 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how long it takes to get their lot being done over there. So, again, I'm pro-business, always have been pro-business, even though it's another municipality, still, business is business, what you need to help people up, and not, like you said, it benefits them and the owner of someplace small, Waterford. No, well, I'm gonna receive phone calls of why these cars parked down here, there had to be, the money had to come against the back taxes and the property to make that happen, so. What do you think?
I don't think we should adjust it at all, no.
Okay.
It
Margaret?
doesn't.
No,
Okay. Art?
Nope.
Okay, so I will respond to this.
I had a question, speaking of cars parked over there, Longhammer used to park in the grass over there, that's Conway's property. Now they're parking on the cement over there, off the grass. Is that still Conway's property? Or are they going back on the mall property, or Sears property, I don't know. I don't know how that's split up back there.
As far as I know, the asphalt ends at Cadre's property line, but I can't swear to that, because I can't
That's
think
what
of
I
any
thought,
reason
too.
he would have needed parking. I could look at the aerial survey and tell you, but.
That's what I thought too, I thought they had a parking, well, Longhammer's got them all on the hay park now.
They probably
I don't
talked to
figure-
the owner of the new Sears
So,
and worked a
you're-
deal out with
Okay,
him.
you didn't know
that's
that's
what I'm saying.
No.
because they have this in there.
Oh, they're contradicting.
So you, when you tell them no, you don't need to provide them with an explanation.
Yeah, I'm just writing that, yeah, I will give what my,
Just see.
yep. Yep. It's a consensus of the township board.
Since we're
Because
suing
of
you and
this,
you're
this,
suing
this,
us
and
and you
this.
back taxes.
Hey,
We're not in favor of
Once
that.
once your back taxes are paid, we'll reassess the situation.
We applied, no. Because it was presented to me as the last thing, because the mall is sold. Okay? The mall is sold, so. The
Hooray!
last thing they wanna do.
Finally.
Your
is have
house
us
flying
hold
pretty
up the
soon.
closing on the mall because we didn't approve the lot split.
Mhm.
Okay, or excuse me, the lot line adjustments, okay, so I looked into it, and again, the rest of the story or the other side of the story, and then you ask people and find out what everything is, and so we'll go from there. Okay,
That lot adjustment, you say it's gonna go east an acre and a third.
1 1/3 acres, yeah.
Now, how far to the north would that go?
Right to the next entrance, it's a lot deeper than it is wide,
Okay.
the neck, go right over the edge of the next entrance, right there.
He hasn't said what he wants to do that for.
I'd have to assume it has to be consumer powers.
I don't know.
Consumer powers over.
Consumer occupies that building right now.
The old Kia dealership.
Right.
The old Kia dealership,
Oh, they've
Consumer's
been there.
Energy's in
The
there.
cyclone fence all the way around and they get vehicles parked in the
Yeah, they
back.
have probably 300 cars back there.
It's a service
Not that
center.
many, but it's a service center.
Well, DTE will make a nice.
Yeah. DT
The
at
other
one end,
utility.
Consumer's Energy at the other end.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about gas or electric and water for a while, so.
Got all your essentials, water,
Not see where you're gonna get
Hey,
it free.
Comcast and AT&T in the middle.
we all said, yeah.
All the basic utilities. for
Yeah.
the township. Let's make a deal. Okay, Tim Burtsis, he owns the hotel right there on Dixie Highway.
Right.
At Anderson Road in Dixie there. He bought the 26-foot lot, calling Andersonville Road and East-West Road and Dixie North-South Road.
Okay.
To the east side of the old church property there.
Right. Okay.
He owns that 26-foot lot. He's in the process of trying to buy the glass shop, the stained glass
Oh,
shop
okay.
next door to it, and, turn them into, that's a 32-foot lot, and the other, so he's got a 58-foot parcel there, okay? Right now, there's 2 parking spots literally right up on the sidewalk in front of that, and there's nothing else. I mean, he's got the place, do a lot combination there, and he's looking at buying that building and the different things he looked at me, so he said, possible mixed use, office in the front, resident in the back, okay? One whole office, one whole resident, you know what I'm saying? Or a duplex residential, but just different options on that. Is there anybody opposed to the thought of that idea right there? You got residential immediately to the east of that.
Right.
Okay, and then you got the church property to the west of that, which, could be residential, but, it's zoned office right now.
Right, so that would go with
Yeah.
the neighborhood
Kind of,
zoning.
yeah. And you got the bank across the street, and then you got residential on down the road, so it's kind of a little bit of mixed use up at that end there.
I think it's a good idea, because right now, it's so hard to use that property
Right.
without being in violation of parking
Right.
and every
It
other
That's
can't be
thing.
something else.
To join that, make that part of it and actually have a place where a vehicle could
Well,
sit.
I've been in the glass shop and I kinda look at my car like I might not see it again when I get out of it and walk.
Yeah, so it would be a smart thing to do, really.
Well, at one time, Parks and Rec used to allow people to park in the parking lot there. Again, business friendly, working with businesses and stuff. But it's, we don't own the property anymore, so we don't have the authority to do that. But like I said, mixed use, a good idea. And so I
I
guess.
like mixed use.
Yeah.
So do I think mixed
Yeah.
use is
This we're in the 21st century, not just one of those things coming out, so, okay, I will report back to him and tell him that, the consensus of the board is,
I have not driven by the church. What's that, have they done anything with it?
They
The
were
new
over there
owners?
yesterday, the day before, I think some guy was over there.
I thought they put a new porch on the front. Am I wrong?
you know, I was there doing a traffic count the other day,
I didn't
just
see
parked in
that
the
the
parking
other
lot
day
and
when I
paying
was
attention to it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, was
Guess
doing
I haven't
a
missed
traffic
anything, okay.
count. They called, people were driving hundreds of miles an hour over the speed limit up and down Anderson
Did you
Road.
Yeah, I was on Saturday too. I didn't see on the porch there.
Yeah, they did some work,
Was there a brand new porch there?
man, I don't, surrender reports, they did some work on it.
He had a door, a side door over there doing
Still
something.
not ADA compliant,
Yeah.
but you can still
Yeah,
get
right,
inside
there
the
was no
building,
ramp or
then you had to
anything.
go chair lifts going up, and then if you get in the auditorium, you know, that's one level, and this is
Right.
another level, and get back, that, see, if we looked at doing that ADA compliant for the church that was there, you know, but it cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
The ramping and stuff outside, I did the drawings and stuff for that, and it would come in at about 20,000, you know, to get it, you know, you only go so far, and then you gotta flatten out and then run it
Right.
in. 6 years ago, I remember those numbers, I don't remember them anymore, I just, I don't know what the distances are, because I don't have them. Okay,
Good answer.
Tim Patterson, who is an attorney, Patterson and Booth over there on Walton Boulevard, brought me in 788 signed petitions about the condition of Walton Boulevard from Sashabar Road east to Clintonville Road, okay? Now, we know we're on the radar for 2021 for Walton Boulevard, Dixie Highway east to Sashabar Road, we're on the radar for that. Tri-party funds and funds from the township, and that's completely demolition and rehabilitation of the roadway, a $4 million project, okay? But Tim is in the next section, so he brought to me a petition of people wanting something done with that, so. I took it, I had a meeting of the road commission, I hand delivered it to them and said, you know, I don't want to do these petitions, I'm not in the petition business, so I delivered it to them, and Dennis Kolar of the road commission sent me an email about, you know, what are we looking to do? They want to do it, and we talked about this before, they want to do a temporary fix on Walton Boulevard until 2021. This year yet, they want to do a temporary fix on the road, of which Waterford Township's share would be $150,000, okay? And then in 2019, they want to do a temporary fix on Walton Boulevard, because that first stretch is 0.7 of a mile, the second stretch is 1.1 miles, okay? That would run 335,000, what did he tell me? He said figure two. I did, my math come out at 235,500, his come out at 250,000, okay? So that next stretch would be 250,000. Without talking to Rob, the engineer, how much could be tri-party funding and how much we'd have to come up with.
That's our share, 250.
250,000 is Waterford Township share for the second stretch. The first stretch from Walton to Sashabaw could be 150,000.
That's almost $500,000. I mean, I'm rounding up big time, but for a temporary fix.
We have
And it
over
was
$1
their fault
million
the first
in
time.
tri-party funds for Waterford Township. And if we don't use it, it's going to get used elsewhere, but I don't know how much of that tri-party money we can use and how much we have to come up out of the taxpayers' pockets, okay? So, and again, it's a temporary fix, supposed to get us through 2021,
Like all their other
Until
temporary
they-
fixes last.
until they tear that
so
out
long.
and replace the road.
I thought we decided no on
We did, we talked about that.
that. Yeah,
But he sent it back to me again.
but it's their fault. I'm sorry, you already did.
Well, plus you've got these local residents and businesses' signatures, 788
And
of
the
them,
next
right?
stretch up, yeah, that's the next stretch up, this is, you know, but he's wanting to know, Dixie to Sashaba, 18, Sashaba to Clintonville, 19. 150,000, 250,000, so,
What is their temporary
I don't know.
day-to-day?
I'm not a road engineer, I'm a township
Isn't that what they're
supervisor,
doing on
chartered
Elizabeth Lake
contractor.
Road too, is it temporary?
What's that?
The Elizabeth Lake Road, isn't that a temporary that's gonna start this?
Well,
week?
that's a mill and recap.
Yeah.
This is concrete, they don't
Yeah,
want to
this is
recap
cement.
concrete, to the best of my knowledge.
Maybe if we got a definition from them as
Anything-
to what is the temporary and what is the warranty for.
And I'd want to
But
know how
anything they
much-
put in, anything they put in is gonna be torn out in 2021, it's gone, I don't care, all goes to the scrapyard. And the next stretch, I believe by 2021 is gonna be as bad a shape as the first stretch is right now.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be, and then you get past Clintonville Road up to Silver Lake Road is your next subject you need to talk about, and it just goes on and on and on.
So this $4 million project is scheduled for 2021, that's road commission money, this is their project and they're fixing it.
There's again, like I said, it's 80%, no, was it 80 or, 80% funded by the federal government. No,
The $4 million
90%,
project,
yeah.
okay.
80% of that's funded by the federal government, 400,000 comes from the county, and 400,000 comes from tri-party. Okay,
And how much do we have?
$134,000, we get $4 million with the road fixed.
So it's gonna
But
cost
we
you
don't have
734.
What's gonna cost a hundred?
No,
It's gonna
our
cost us
share is,
134.
Waterford Township share is 134,000. Okay,
For the
And
$4
we're gonna
million
fall
Above and beyond
project.
the tri.
Yes.
Part of the 400,000.
That's coming out of our pocket.
yeah, that's our money.
So we're gonna put in $400,000 now for a temporary fix.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
That'll
asking
get
for
Right.
torn out. And then we're gonna put in,
I don't know what they're gonna tear out on the next section, so I don't know when they're gonna tear it out. Eventually, it's gonna get torn out, but for right now,
And once it gets torn out, we're gonna put in a whole lot more money than the $137,000. Like Karen said, we already discussed this, so.
I thought, yeah, we were already
yeah, I
discussed
think,
one.
yeah.
we
I guess
discussed the
what-
first stretch.
We didn't discuss the second, you're correct.
So I think what I'd like to tell them is something like, we're gonna use that money you're holding in our tri-party in 2021.
Right,
So don't give it away to anybody else, we're gonna use it in 2021.
but if we don't use the money, they can give it to other
But we'll
municipalities.
tell them, we're gonna use it, we're gonna use it.
Can't we
in
earmark it?
2021.
I have no, again, I'll talk to our township engineer, how they do that. Again, I'm not a roads person, I'm not gonna profess to be.
Right.
So in essence, we're looking at $500,000 for a brand new road in 2021.
No,
No, fixing it now.
If we fix it, if we.
patching it.
If we fix that-
Temporarily fixing it now and having a brand new road in 2021 for that whole stretch.
We're looking at 150,000 and 134,000.
Yeah, well, 150, 250 is 4, and another 134 is
In
$500,000.
2021, they're only doing Dixie, from Dixie to Sashball.
That's all they're doing.
0.7 miles.
That's the.
You're not
the-
doing-
That's 2021, that's, they've got federal money to do
So
that.
that Sashball to Clinton thing's not getting looked at at all.
No.
No, that's down the
Temporary
road.
fix, yes.
Temporary fix.
Temporary,
Is there a warranty
Temporary
on a
fix.
temporary fix?
And
I doubt it.
we have 220 in our tri-party.
No, we got over $1 million in tri-party.
No, but what they could give away, it's ours.
I don't, like I said, I'll have to ask Rob how they distribute the tri-party funds. I don't know. I don't know how that
Because
works.
that would help to clarify.
I thought you said in 19, we would be spending 250,000.
No, that's patch.
For
Next couple of years.
temporary fix
Right.
on
If we-
Walton Boulevard from Sashaba to
Sashaba to
Clinton.
Clinton.
That's a
Yeah.
temporary fix.
Right, so we're spending 150 this year.
If we
250
agree
next
to it,
year.
you know, what, I'm not saying we're
I
spending,
mean,
yeah.
it's-
These are, we need to
proposal.
spend
And then
150,
135 on the final.
134.
The final, yes.
134, so that's 4, 3, 2, why can't I add? 3, 1, 2, 4.
And if we-
$534,000
Half a million, over half a
Right.
million.
of our money,
Mhm.
of our money.
Right.
Where are we gonna get
In
that?
3 years down the road, it's just 2.5 years it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
We're gonna start all over again, so I think it's wasting
If
money.
we had a bunch of money sitting around,
Yeah, that kind of, do my residential street.
Okay,
Assuming we do nothing, which is where we're leaning, obviously, the Sashaba Clinton thing never gets touched.
And so how do we respond to Tim Patterson?
We don't. yeah.
I'll CC him on an email, so the township does not have the funding available to do it. But the tri-party part of it, but our part of it, and again, I'd have to talk to the budget people to see if we have that. And that would be one-time revenue, but one-time revenue we've been trying to fix the parking lots, you know,
Phone system.
Civic Center Drive, phone systems. I don't know if the telephone had been invented yet when we got that. But again, it's just looking at things. And again, like I said, and the thing has been when they put Walton Boulevard in, it was a bad batch of concrete. That's 5 lanes wide, 7/10 of a mile, and I think it's 10 or 12 inches thick. It's a lot of bad batches of concrete.
And it's our,
A lot of bad
it's
batches
on
of
us
concrete.
to fix, even
But
though
again,
that's their road.
I am not the most popular person with the engineering road commissioner for Oakland County, but,
I'm not either.
well, you call them names and I get lit up for it, so they just, so are we telling him no and no? But I did say that we are on for the, you know,
The big fix.
2021 project, you know what I'm saying?
And yeah, and if Rob can clarify how we secure those fundings if we're not using it till 2021 to make sure that they're not gone.
Well,
Earmark 'em. Can we
Yeah.
earmark 'em?
okay, I'll ask you, but I don't know, so.
Right.
If they're gonna disappear though, what else could we do with it? I mean,
Well, we don't have money to spend on that road, we don't have to spend on other roads either.
Right.
We just spent $30,000 on Freebies. As tri-party funds to get that done, because they didn't redo it the year before. That was the worst of the 2 sections, so they did the better section and left that, so.
Could,
But you know, all the people that called me complaining about that stretch of road, not one person's called. Yeah, I did, one
Thank
person
you.
called, they
Oh,
want
to
a
say
sign
thank
now
you.
for a deaf child in the area. So I told them what they had to do to get a hold of a letter from the doctor, the road commission, they put the sign up, so. That's the only call I got.
could, this group that signed petitions, could they do an SAD? Could they do a special assessment?
For a 5-lane federal, or 5-lane.
Yeah, I don't know, what other
county
reports do they have? I don't know, just,
I would think.
I don't know,
It's
is
a
that
county
cost
road,
prohibitive?
it's a federal road.
I said, misspoke myself and straightened myself out. County road, 5-lane concrete county road. The
That's-
7/10 of a mile stretch is $4 million, so what do you
Okay.
think one?
Well, I'm just saying, that's what
57%?
neighborhoods do with the county roads, that's all they can do.
The
So that's why I
subdivision
thought-
street.
Right, right. So
But
I was
again,
just trying, to come up with suggestions to give the people that send
It's
the
probably a
petitions.
$6.5 million project.
File for
That's what they did in
disaster.
21.
FEMA. Does anybody have any connections in FEMA? Oh,
Call
wait,
up,
they don't
say,
have
tornado
tornadoes.
hit my stretch of
They
road.
ever get flooded out or something.
Okay, so I'll ask you how we can.
That's what
keep
happened in the
without-
UP.
Yeah. You're right.
Not lose our funds here. Okay, the last thing I have here is we're referred to as quiet zones at railroad crossings. Okay? We had a gentleman get a hold of me, wanting to know about quiet zones. And I called RCOC and MDOT. I talked to Scott Sinkowski, Road Commission. I talked to Chris Gundel at MDOT. Okay, and the bottom line is, once the study is completed and cost evaluation established, the expense to fund these projects falls on the local municipality and will cost in the area of $250,000
Oh, my God.
per crossing, okay?
Per cross.
Per crossing, okay? Now, they get, I think, 78 trains a day where they used to have 23 to 25 a day, so they cut it down 67% basically. And the example Chris sent me, like, okay, you get a crossing, you got the cross arms at all of them now. Then you got the cut throughs, you put up a barrier where cars can't. Well, eventually they can come down 5 or 6 lanes and come around and get through there, but you gotta put, so what are you gonna do with that come snowplow time? You gotta work around that, it's stuck out there in the middle on that. And again, it falls on the local municipality, it's on our dime. That's it. And when I explained to the gentleman that the railroads were there long before every road except Saginaw Trail, and I think that was used by the Cowboys and Indians, you know what I'm saying? It just,
It
there
sure
were,
looks like it.
there were no roads there. So the bottom, oh, I'm talking about Dixie Highway, was called Saginaw Trail.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you're well,
No,
against.
but so I'm just saying, railroad was there long before our roads were there, long before houses were along there, and say, and I suggested he go after his realtor for a lawsuit against disclosure, not telling them there's a railroad crossing where you hear the
As
whistles.
long as that.
But I'm in no way, shape, or form even interested in going over this, and he says, is there an update to this? And again, I sent him to Scott, and I sent him to Chris. I'm done with it, I got you all the information you asked for, then you send them information, and it's not enough, they want more, and they want more, and they want more. Well, I'm out of the information. I answered what he wanted, now they can tell him, to a professional type, but the bottom line, it falls back on the local municipality. And we have 7 road grade railroad crossings, and we got the overpass on Telegraph, which is above grade.
I'm not sure how you could expect it to be real quiet if you buy a place near a railroad.
Since you buy a
I
house
mean,
by a railroad.
I can hear the railroad in my house,
It's a
and
big
there
old
isn't a
flag.
train anywhere near it.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
When we first got married, we lived on Dixie, halfway between Scott Lake Road and Watkins. When they were headed north, they were blowing for Watkins Lake Road behind our house, and when they were headed south, they were blowing for Scott Lake Road behind our house. The house was probably about 70 feet off the tracks.
And when it's quiet at night, you can just probably hear the train, and the train's
We're
pretty loud.
we're 4 lanes in, I can hear
It's
it.
part of the deal, I think.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just,
No, it is. Well, I just
Live by
like,
an airport.
It makes sense.
How much do your earplugs cost?
on a cool spring morning or a spring evening or on a cool fall evening, I'll hear DT Energy at my house there too. And I'm in Waterford, they're in Independence, so can't hear the music word for word, but you can tell it's a concert. Yes, it is better than a train whistle. So that was the items that I had on here. So I'm looking at Summit Place Mall, no. Tim Burtz's, yes. Walton Boulevard,
No.
no. And quiet zones?
What'd you say?
Margaret, don't laugh, come on, you're encouraging her. Why do you do that, Margaret?
The bond at West Bloomfield, Margaret found it is $100,000,
Yes,
So-
and no vice charge.
or no buy.
Nobody's
So
$100,000.
cash buy is probably a little out of the question.
is it a cash fund or an insurance?
No, I just wrote down.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what they would need to put up, that would be reasonable, we could vote them with cash.
Did you know that one of the
CFL
first presidents of the
fund
Oakland
that's-
County Sportsman Club name was
They got all
Cash
these communities.
Seriously.
Bond? Serious? Yeah.
What was his name?
Cash Bond.
A good parental joke.
Cash Bond.